important. Here to face off are Mark Walsh, is a Democratic strategist, and Alex Conant is a Republican strategist. And Alex, I want to start with you, and first on the protests and the interruptions themselves. Here's what Paul Krugman wrote today in the New York Times. They're probably reacting less to what Mr. Obama's doing, or even to what they've heard about what he's doing, than to who he is. That is the driving force behind the town hall mobs, is probably the same cultural and racial anxiety that's behind the birther movement. Your reaction?
Well, I don't know. I wonder how many folks Paul Krugman actually went out and met with before he wrote that. I think it's unfair to take a few isolated examples of extremism and highlight those.
Isolated, Alex, in fact, these are happening all over the country. These are happening all over the country literally every day. 3 or 4 town hall rallies a day.
And the Democrats and the White House and this network are more than happy to highlight those examples of extremism when ignoring the larger debate and the fact that the White House is losing the larger debate.
Alex,
over the
how can there be a debate if people are not allowed to talk? If I'm interrupting you, and you can imagine, I know how frustrating it is when I interrupt you. Imagine what it's like if you're having a town hall and you can't even get a word in because somebody hijacks the event and won't let the congressman speak. How can you possibly have a debate in that scenario when people are not allowed to have a rational discussion?
I don't think that is what's happening out in the real world, where the congressmen are able to go meet with their constituents. And the fact is that the majority of their constituents, the majority of the American people, are against the health care reform ideas that they're hearing coming out of the White House and out of Washington, D.C., out of the Congress.
Well, that's strange because the poll suggested that most people actually support a public option. But Mark Walsh, let's let you in here. Mark, take it away. Well, first, Mark, first of all, I want to play for you something that, here's Rush Limbaugh comparing the Obama administration to Nazis. Watch this.
They accuse us of being Nazis, and Obama's got a healthcare logo that's right out of Adolf Hitler's playbook. Now, what are the similarities between...
Well, and he goes on. Mark, is it ever appropriate to, even if you're, look, I don't think Rush Limbaugh really believes this, but the fuel that he's throwing on the fire out there, does it have you concerned, or do you think this is just sort of a political game?
No, I think my irony meter is pegged at 10 for 2 reasons. Number one, the people who are interrupting these elected officials during these town meetings are screaming the phrase, "This is America," which I find so ironic because the America I know, they would let people have civil discourse. And secondly, the irony meter hits 10 when asked, people say, keep your government hands out of my Medicare, a government-run program. So the people in these rooms, often they are recruited by outside interests, are there to shout down and deny civil discourse over this conversation. Alex is incorrect. The majority of the American people wants some kind of program with a third-party guarantee insurer. That is incorrect for Alex to say that America does not want to change in the program.
No, the more that the American people hear about what the Democrats are proposing, the less they like it. You can't dispute that, and that's why the Democrats are so eager to highlight all of these distractions, and they want us on TV talking about Rush Limbaugh and a handful of bad actors out there, when ignoring the larger debate over what we should do with our health care system, which Democrats and Republicans alike agree needs to be reformed.
But Alex, wouldn't you agree that the debate is not going on because of these shoutdowns?
Absolutely not. I think that in Congress, the debate is certainly going on. Republicans are offering lots of ideas. The Democrats aren't listening.
Alex, they're in recess right now.
Alex, what about the debate at these
exactly.
town
And now
halls?
when they're going home, I think congressmen are hosting these town halls so that they can hear from their constituents, and they are hearing them loud and clear.
But why do the town halls now look like an episode of Jerry Springer?
I think that the White House and the Democrats are highlighting a few bad examples, but the vast majority of the town halls... There's a lot of people out there, the majority of Americans, who are opposed to what the Democrats are proposing right now.
Even so, Alex, Senator McCain on Twitter said, "Town hall meetings are an American tradition. We should allow everyone to express their views without disruption, even if we disagree."
Absolutely.
Let me jump in here. Here's what's going on. I would argue that Alex, who's doing a darn good job at it, is attempting to paint this as a few bad actors, when in fact there's a playbook which has been revealed from the right wing suggesting these exact same actions. Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, and all the right-wing talk show hosts on TV and radio are highlighting, Glenn Beck through his 9/12 moment, are highlighting when and where these events are going on and suggesting people show up and act exactly like this. Alex, I appreciate your stance, but you are flat wrong to say America is against what Obama is presenting, and you were flat wrong to suggest these are a few bad actors. This is an organized movement, and Rush Limbaugh and statements like that, and Glenn Beck calling the American president a racist who hates white people is flat wrong.
Well, I want to give Alex an opportunity on another topic.
We'll find out when Congress comes back in September. They're not going to vote for. They're not going to be any more inclined to support this plan after hearing from their constituents.
Alex, here's something where I think people really can get riled up. This Congress is now planning to spend $550 million on 8 new Learjet aircraft. The Department of Defense said they only need 3. So I'm wondering, Alex, if you want to encourage people to go to the district of Representative Jack Kingston, a Republican in Georgia, who asked that this be added to the defense authorization bill, and protest him for wasting taxpayer money on something that Americans and that the military says we don't need.
Look, I do think that the only thing that could make Congress less popular than calling their constituents mobs, which is what the Democrats are doing right now with all these town halls and name-calling the people that show up at the town halls, is buying a bunch of executive jets when those same members have been criticizing CEOs for flying in executive jets when their companies are going bankrupt, just like the country is.
Well, let me suggest 2 quick things, if I might. First of all, the only name-calling going on in these meetings are the people standing up and screaming, go back to Europe and go back where you came from. That's the name-calling is coming from the right, number one. Number 2, with these jets, yes, $500 million is too much. But you know what? It's now about safety. These elected representatives could fly first class on these trips, but now, what if at 35,000 feet they're attacked by one of these teabaggers or the sort of the fascist stance that's going on, and they can't get out of the plane? This is about security now. It is about security.
I think the issue here is that they criticize CEOs for flying in executive jets, but then they want their own executive jets.
Hey, Mark, are you channeling Orly now? Is that what's going on? Are you channeling Orly?
Am I channeling who?
Orly. There's an interview we did earlier this week, and she sort of had a meltdown. All right, Mark Walsh, Democratic strategist, Alex Conant, Republican strategist, both terrific and very effective at what they do. We appreciate you both coming on. Monica, first on the airplanes. Yeah, Congress is such a